Yo, what is up, Genshin Impact Gamer? This is going to be my first impressions overall review of KIRARA. She is going to be the newest 4-star Dendro cat girl coming out. While 3.7 may be a little bit dead, you know, at least we have a cat girl, even though she's fake cat girl because Hoyle doesn't want to make real cat girls and she's like a yokai or something, I don't know. But let's get right into it. Alright, now for the stats I'm going to be running on for KIRARA today. I have 51k HP, level 80. With 1.2k attack. Attack doesn't really matter. She's HP. Gonna be building for shield. I have 135 ER, which is a pretty nice range because her ult is a 60 burst cost, and you're probably gonna be running her in double Dendro or with other characters that will be giving you energy, or you're gonna be running her in a team that doesn't need that much energy, and she doesn't need that much energy herself. So that all adds up to her not needing that much energy because you're gonna be running her in bloom teams pretty much. For the weapon here, we're running the key. And then for artifacts, we're running a 2-piece HP, 2-piece HP, you know, a classic just to boost his shield since she is all HP scaling. We do have all C6, but I will be going over the Constellation and everything later to show what is her strong points. And our talents here, we have 699. Now, you don't need your normal attack, you can keep these at level 1, but you definitely want to level up your skill and your burst. Most importantly, your skill though, because that's going to be your shield. Your burst, you could probably leave level 1 too, unless you're going for like some meme builds where you want to do some more damage, or you just want to add some more damage to your rotations. Now, let's get into KIRARA weapon options. So, she actually doesn't have many weapon options that like change her gameplay significantly unless you have the key or the Jade Cutter. It's kind of like Kuki. Like Kuki can be running Hyper Bloom and she's the procer of Hyper Bloom, so she can run like EM swords and stuff, which will change your gameplay. But for KIRARA, you're going to be mainly building her for a shield, and her shield is HP scaling, and we only have 2 HP scaling weapons, and one of them is a key. And if you have a key, you're probably putting it on your Nilou because you're going to be running her in bloom mostly. So if you do have an extra Jade Cutter or a key sitting around, you can put one of those on her. But say you don't have those, you can go with the classic support option of Swords, which is Sack Sword or Favonius. Favonius is overkill on energy, but if your team needs some extra energy, say you're using her to shield like a Sino or something, you can do that. And Sacrificial will allow you to get a second shield. You know, you could not proc it though, so do keep that in mind. Other weapon options you could run is you could run the Sapwood Blade. You could be running Festering Desire if you've been playing, you know, to give your skill some extra damage and some ER. And you also have the potential to do Iron Sting, which will just give you some extra overall damage percent. And don't forget Freedom Sworn, which will give your team a increased damage on their normal charging and plunging attacks. So pretty much like Sino teams, any other aggravate teams that you're running. Now for artifacts, the most easy, simple build you're gonna be able to run on her is 2-piece Tenacity, 2-piece Vorakasha, which is gonna give you 40% HP, 2-piece HP. Pretty simple to run through, and you can just go triple HP on your main stat, so you have a super beefy shield. Now, some other options you can run besides 2-piece HP, 2-piece HP, you can run 4-piece Emblem, give your team a nice attack buff for any, if you're running her in an aggravate team and your characters can use the attack bonus, you can run that, and it'll give her a little bit extra burst damage since she does have a pretty big multiplier on her burst. You can also run 4-piece Deepwood. Now, keep in mind, with her on Deepwood, she is going to be proccing it very rarely because you're going to only be doing it on field, so you have to be on fielding her a lot for Deepwood to really have use on it. I'd really recommend keeping this on like your second Dendro character if you had 2 Dendro characters on a team and having your other Dendro character have the Deepwood. But if she is the only person that can use Deepwood, you can put a 4-piece Deepwood on her. And lastly, there's Tenacity. I really wouldn't recommend 4-piece Tenacity though, because you're not going to really be able to use the full buff out of Tenacity since it only lasts for 3 seconds, and to actually attack stuff with her skill, you have to be on field with her, and once you get off of that, it's pretty much going to run out for 3 seconds. Okay, before getting into teams, I almost forgot to record Constellations. Let's get into KIRARA's Constellations here. So her C1 just adds some extra damage to your ultimate pretty much, because it's going to spawn these little bombs on the ground, which are pretty much the enemy runs into them. It's going to do Dendro damage to them. If you get 32,000 HP, you will be able to spawn the extra 4 radishes from this. Pretty niche, doesn't do too much. C2 is a fully co-op passive, which is another reason why I think KIRARA is a pretty overworld character, like just for fun, like meme character, kind of like Sayu. You don't get anything out of this unless you're running her in co-op. It's kind of like Layla and I think Diona, just shields your other people. C3, you know, classic, just increases your talents by 3. Then you have her C4. Her C4 makes you do a follow-up attack. This seems pretty good, but it's actually pretty mediocre because this only happens every 3.8 seconds. So it is extra Dendro application and some extra damage, but you won't be noticing it that much in a lot of teams. Then you have C5, just another talent increase. And then C6, or C6 is actually pretty decent. You're just gonna 12% all elemental damage bonus. So if you're running her with like a carry and you're shielding them, this will be pretty nice. Extra 12% damage. Won't be too crazy, but it will be a damage increase to your team. All right, and lastly here, before doing some KIRARA showcasing, I wanted to talk about some team comps you can run with her. So for KIRARA, her main thing is going to be a shield and Dendro application, and Bloom is 100% going to be her best team comp. Now, another team comp you can run is something like shielding for your Cyno. And when you're going to be shielding for your Cyno, you're not going to actually on-field her. You're going to go for a combo, which is a short hold E to generate particles, but also increasing your shield. I'll talk about this more in depth later. But this is another example team. This is a nice Cyno aggravate team and quicken. And then lastly here we have like a Hyper Bloom team. Now, you will not be depending on your KIRARA for her Dendro application. You will get more Dendro application if you do have her C4. But you're not going to be depending on her. You still want to have a second Dendro character in a Hyper Bloom team, because if you have only her for Dendro, your Dendro is probably going to be a little lackluster. And then, you know, this is just a classic Hyper Bloom team, you know, Jincho, Kuki, and then Nahida. Obviously, it can be switched out for other Dendro characters of good Dendro application to make sure that you are getting those blooms. All right, and lastly, I just want to do a nice little Abyss clear. Going to be on the second half of Abyss, not going to show the first half. Nice little Bloom team with Nilou. My build is going to be the same as when I showed it earlier, the 2-piece HP with the key. And this Nilou is very invested in and also has a key, so do keep that in mind. With all that being said, let's get right into the Abyss clear. Alright, and to end off the video, I just want to give my lasting thoughts over on KIRARA. She isn't going to be nothing too crazy. She's not a meta-breaking character. Most people, you're probably going to get her just because you like her character design, or you just want to play a cat girl, I don't know. Actually, you want to play the closest thing we probably have right now to a cat girl, until maybe Lynette from Fontaine. I am also waiting the Fontaine patch. I don't know how we're going to 3.8, but we are, I guess. I am going to be rolling for her on stream, though, so if you are interested in seeing me doing more testing with her, you know, definitely come over to Twitch, twitch.tv/gib. I'll have it on stream, and, yeah.